Hi, Chris from evaluagent here. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the community part of evaluagent CX. This is essentially where we can gamify events in the platform and award agents or users with points. Now, as an agent, this is an agent profile that we're in here. I can access the community menu and I can come into my profile, and this will show me all of the points that's been awarded to me for the various engagements available in the platform. So you can see for logging in, for example, I've been awarded 70 points. So each time that I log in, I can be awarded points. So this is a really good incentive for agents to log in and engage with the platform. In that same vein, we can get points for viewing evaluations, passing evaluations, viewing our feedback that we get, acknowledging that feedback and being awarded badges, and viewing the KPI report. So if I'm doing all of these activities on a regular basis, I can build up my points. Now my points are then shown in the total points area here. And I also have my spendable points. The spendable points are what we can then spend on options, which we'll take a look at in a second. But additionally, I can see where I am ranking against my peers. So if we click into this, I can see the leaderboard. Now, in this example here, in this team, we only have 2 agents in the team. So right now, I am 5 points above June here. In a real scenario, if you had, say, 20 agents in a team, you can control how many people above us and below us we can see. So as an example, if I was number 10 in a team of 20, if I was seeing, the whole team, that could potentially demotivate me, especially if I was at number 20 and I could see all of those people above me. We can limit what we can see above and below so that we're not in direct competition with all of the people in the team. We're just in competition with the the couple below us and a couple above us. So that really helps mitigate any disengagement if we do find that we're at the bottom end of the scale. Now, come back to the profile. We can see our position in here. We can see our points, and I can also see my engagement history. So for all of the points that I'm getting, I can track where they are across the time period. Now, in terms of spending these points, I can come into the community and then into auctions. Now, depending on what's been set up by the admins, we can see the auctions that's available to us. As the agent, we can come into either one of these and we can come into make a bid. Now, this is essentially eBay style, where we can see what the current bid is. That's 20 points. We can see how long the auction has got remaining. So this is controllable. And we can see how many points that we have here. As part of the auction setup, we can add in images, we can add in some details, but of course we can add in some points here. So let's say we want to bid 30 of our spendable points, and we can place that bid. So we're now the top bidder. Now, um, as the top bidder, I'll receive a notification to let me know. But as we can see here, for each time that we're awarded points for an engagement, we get a notification in here to let us know. And these are controllable in the notifications panel, your notification settings as well. We can click review bids here and we can see who is the users that's bidding on this. Now, if right now I'm the top bidder, if Aaron here was to come back in and outbid me, I would receive a notification to let me know that I've been outbid for the the prize as well. So that's the community aspect of the agent experience. Now, in addition to this, we can also have a we can also allow users or agents to make suggestions. This is kind of like a suggestion box. So what we can do is put in a new suggestion here. We can select from one of the suggestion types. So let's say we've got a good idea. And then for our suggestion, we could say, can we have some healthy food in the vending machine, as an example. Now, as the person submitting the idea, I have the option to submit this anonymously. So depending on what it is, I may just want to anonymize myself, but that's fine here. We can just untick that. and we can submit the suggestion here. And this lets us know that we've then submitted that. Now I can track any of the suggestions that I've put in before, and I can also see the status of these. Now, in terms of changing these statuses, these are done more at the admin side, or the people responsible for managing the mailbox. So let's take a look at that now. Okay, so in terms of setting this up, the first thing that we need to do is come to our settings and then into our community settings. So this contains all of the settings required to manage the community element. The first one here relates to that suggestion box. So this element here allows us to set the different suggestion types. So we can turn this on or off depending on how many we want. We can only have a maximum of 3, but what we do in here is we give it the label and then we can add in a prompt as well. And that means that when I view this, I will see this prompt text, this placeholder text in the idea text box. So I can just configure those based on the types of ideas that I want to capture. As we come down here, we can see the different tags that we can add in. So we can tag the ideas and suggestions that are coming through. And on the right-hand side here, I can add in and manage the statuses of those suggestions. Now, what this means is that when I then come into the community tab, I can come into the suggestions inbox. These things are managed by permissions. So if I have a permission to view the suggestion inbox, I can open that up and I can see all of the suggestions that came in. So we can see the idea that we previously submitted here. Now, as the admin, I can come into edit mode. And for each of these, I can come in and just tag. I can just tag the ideas with the tag that's available in the settings. We can also change the settings as the status as well. So I can change this to acknowledged. And with any change that's been made, the agent will receive a notification to say that the status has changed, etc. Now, here is an example of an anonymous contribution. Because the agent or the person is selected the anonymous box, this comes through as completely anonymous, so there's no way to see where that originated from. So let's just come back to our view mode, and we've got some filters available here where we can filter, and this is similar to the filters that we see across the product, but you can filter by different team suggestions, different types, which brings in those elements that we've already created in the settings, different tags, etc. So you've got some filtering options there to filter those suggestions. The other aspects relate to the engagements. So from all of the engagements we've got available, which we saw in the profile, we can turn these on or off. There might be some that we don't want to have available to users, so it's just a case of toggling these, and that will turn those off. In the edit option, this gives us control of the number of points that's been awarded and a bit of customization as well. Now, looking at the configure option here, this allows us to assign the number of points that can be awarded per action. So depending on what you want to award here per engagement, then you can just set that. The anti-gaming rules really kind of come into play when it relates to logging into the platform. Just this engagement that we're looking at. As an agent, potentially I could take advantage of this engagement and just continually log in, log out and log into the platform. The anti-gaming rules prevent that from adding on to the points essentially. So we can add in a daily activation limit. So this means that if I was to log in 20 times today, then I would only receive 5 points for that first login. I don't get it for every single time. And it is optional. So if you turn that off, then that would be the result. And of course, that's for passing evaluations, for example. That's probably something you wouldn't want to apply. But the logging in one, yeah, that's ideal for that. Now, additionally, we can also enable levels for each of the engagements. So if I was to enable the level, I can add in however many levels as I want, like so, and I can then assign the number of points that would then allow me to level up essentially. So once I'm awarded 20 points or I get to 10 points total for logging in, it would then take me to level 1. So enabling the levels allows us to build in different levels where agents can essentially level up. If they get to 10 points for logging in, they then move into level 1. If they then get to 20, level 2, etc. And that is reflected in the profile as well. Now, these levels weren't enabled when we looked at the profile view, but now that they've been enabled, we would then see whatever level the user was at in the profile. Now, additionally, we can customize the terminology around the engagement. So this guy here is logging in. We can change what we want that to say. The engagement itself will stay the same, but you can change how that's termed in the platform, and you can give it a new description as well. So you can do that for all of the engagements in here. And your leaderboard settings, these are really useful. So where we saw before in a case where we've got 20 people in our team, we're at the bottom range of the leaderboard. The visible range of users will allow you to control how many users we can see above and below what our position is. So in that case, we could say, you know what, let's only just give 2 above and 2 below so that the user would only be in competition with those 4 users rather than seeing everyone. So you've got that control there. You can also allow agents to appear anonymous on the leaderboard as well. So they wouldn't be able to see the names of any other agent on the leaderboard besides their own. The refresh period here allows you to decide how often the leaderboard is refreshed. So let's say you run it on a monthly basis. At the end of the month, of the 30 days, that would then revert back to 0 points across the board. Having said that, your spendable points remain the same. They get saved up. Your options is where you can add in your options and control those options. So right now we have 2 that's active. So we can see the name, the date range, etc. And we can come in and view this, and that will show all of the details in here. And we can see, who's been bidding on them and things like that. And we can also make any changes, or we can also delete it. Any auctions that's been closed, we can see those in here. So let's take a look at this guy here. We can view that, and we can see, the winning bid in this case was 996. And we can see any upcoming as well, because you can set them to start, like next week or next month or whatever. So if we're going to create a new auction, we would come to new auction, we would give it a name, let's say extra 5 minutes break. Yeah, obviously something better than that, but you get the idea. We can then decide which team or department that we want this option to be applicable to. So if we have it at the top level of the business, that's going to be available to every user, but we can control, let's say it was just Team Mike, we can make that selection in there. We give it a short description, we give it a description as well, so extra. I should have picked a better example, it was just on the spot. We can then set what the minimum bid increment is. It's defaulting at 10, but we're going to the next step. This is where we decide when it will start and how long it's going to continue for. The next step is just dropping in an image. So let's just be lazy and drop in that screenshot. We hit select, we can create that in there, and that option is then shown in here like so. So the other element in the settings is the participating teams. You can control what particular teams are participating in the gamification. So we can just select whatever teams we want to include, hit save, and that will then ensure that only those agents in Team Mike and Team Blue are able to access the community elements of the platform. In this case, though, we're just selecting everyone. We can just save that. So that's your settings for community.